All right. Welcome to the Rocket Launcher Podcast. This is episode 63. I am your host, Supreme King. I am joined with my co-host, as always, and his name is...
It's your guy, Omazes.
Thank you for being here with me today, sir. You could have been anywhere else in the world, but you're here with me. Let me mention for the people out there, I hope you enjoyed a very nice summer. I don't know if the summer's officially over yet, but
it's not. Apparently,
it's not.
Monday about to be like 90 degrees.
Okay. Yeah, and I guess happy Labor Day, I guess. Yeah, Labor Day. Yep. Or this would be the Labor Day weekend, and then by the time everybody hears this, Labor Day would be Labor Day, or it had passed already. But yeah, Labor Day weekend that we're recording this, they'll go up right away. Only announcement that I really have for next week is that we're actually going to take 1 week off, and then we'll be back at it the following week after that. So yeah, enjoy more video games. Check us back out the week after, or just go listen to a whole bunch of other stuff. I do still appreciate that y'all go back and look at so much stuff that I think is still outdated at this point, but y'all still watching my old content, so I appreciate it. I do plan on being back in a big way, but I appreciate you guys still jumping back and forth through stuff. I mean, some stuff is really old from what I was seeing, and then I will catch up on the comments as well, because I usually, like, when I write back the comments before, it was usually at night right before going to bed, but I haven't been looking at them lately. For this summer, I've basically been touching grass. I know how some of y'all use that term, go touch grass, when y'all argue with each other. I actually did, and I still am, but I'll be back in a big way. But right now we got PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo news all throughout the show. And yeah, we're gonna probably start off with some of the better stuff before we get into the stuff where we bash PlayStation a little bit. Anyways, let's jump to Xbox first. I would say congratulations to the Xbox Microsoft platform for a successful, or it technically still hasn't released yet, or is going to release in a few days, but the early access of Starfield. It looks like a lot of people are jumping onto this. It seems to be a really big game right now for September. I'm seeing a lot of people streaming it early, and it looks like a solid release. Is like way different from Redfall, and so that's a really good thing. They definitely needed a solid release at this stage in the game for Xbox, and it's good because it has nothing to do with Activision. It has nothing to do with Call of Duty. It's just what they currently have right now, and they just put this out. I believe the Forza is going to be coming out in the next couple months, but right here, right now, Starfield finally hit, man. It finally hit early access. The official release is September 6th, so you blink, it'll be out. And I've also heard that like modders are already on top of this thing. You're starting to see right now it's performance mods the most, but I can only imagine that a lot of people are going to be modding a lot of these planets, adding to the planets. Yeah, you could play a first person, you could play a third person, and you know, you got your Fallout in space, Skyrim in space, man. How you feel about that?
Well, it looks good. I can't wait to see more of it. I haven't really seen a lot of gameplay. I like to see when more of like the general public gets it, not so much the early people sometimes, just to get like a more of a sense of how the general crowd feels. But can't wait to watch some gameplay, and then eventually, yeah, when I pick it up, I'm excited for the types of mods that you can get for it.
Yeah, I believe the game, as far as its ratings, is like a high 8. It didn't cross 9. It's more like an 8.7, 8.8 from what I was seeing.
Yeah.
Very similar to, I think, Armored Core. Armored Core didn't cross 9 either. But still a solid release. Is it a game of the year contender? I mean, it depends on the audience, but it seems like it got a huge audience that are finally ready to play it. big
I don't know if
deal.
it's a winner, but I think it'll be for sure a contender, and I think it deserves it.
Yeah, I think it'll be an argument. I think each system is gonna have like one game for sure because they usually do it like that. Jeff Keighley is very political with his stuff. Um, so I think this is the one that's gonna represent Xbox. Tears of the Kingdom will represent Nintendo. For PlayStation, it might be Final Fantasy 16 or
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man probably would be the one over that. Yeah, and then you have
represent well, I guess primarily PC representation would be Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah, and I think if we're saying Resident Evil 4 remake doesn't count, then we'll probably say Hogwarts would count, and then maybe I think Dead Space is considered too old. I don't think that's gonna make it, but we'll see.
I would say it wouldn't count for the same reason for Resident. I guess I don't know.
I was just saying like the horror game. There's not really like a horror game there if you take both of them out. But
so I guess I don't necessarily say it doesn't count. Like the ones that I have up that I think right now are going to be Baldur's Gate 3, Hogwarts Legacy, Starfield, Spider-Man 2, Tears of the Kingdom, and Resident Evil 4 remake with a Final Fantasy 16 as a maybe.
Yeah, so very strong year. I don't have everything, but I do plan on getting almost everything that is mentioned already. I plan on getting everything probably by winter, because these are really great games. I would like to support them. Yeah, so strong year. I don't think 2024 is going to be as strong as what 23 was. I think it might slow back down. I don't think it's going to come to a complete stop the way it seemed like 2022 was. But I think it's going to slow back down a little bit. I think like games that were pushed back, I think going into the next year, it's not going to be too many more pushed back into that year. I think everything is just going to come out and it's just going to like slow back down. That's what I'm thinking. I don't know. But I think this year was like one of those like really good years on paper because we still got a lot of bad stuff that's been happening surrounding the games, at least the platforms. But yeah, Starfield, very strong release. I give it its credit, similar to how I think I gave, I think it was Street Fighter 6. I gave it that credit because it was a game that just simply came out and it was polished enough and you didn't hear about just like screeching terrible performance, borderline unplayable performance, you know. It came out and it works. Like that seems to be very rare nowadays, that something just comes out and works.
Which is where Baldur's Gate 3 got a lot of praise for it, and then top of that. But yeah, it is sad that I think Armored Core is the same way too.
Yeah,
came out and worked. But it's sad that that's a plus, not like a norm. Like we should be arguing more that like, hey, yes, this game came out like a little buggy, but we still think they fixed it and it should be game of the year. Like that should be, we should be arguing for the few that messed up, not like, well, this one deserves it right away because unlike the rest, it works. Like that sucks.
Yeah, it works should be the standard. It shouldn't be like that's the issue that I have with gaming right now. But yeah, it works. And then on top of that, Xbox also decided to introduce their version of the plates or console covers or however you say it, face plates. But I think theirs was called wraps. I don't know if that's official yet. But basically, you just have this you have this thing that you basically wrap your Series X like a burrito or something, and you could put wraps on top of it, and I think it's supposed to Velcro together at the back. And so it's more than just like customizing controllers now. You can actually change the look of your systems. Do you think this is better than buying custom systems? Like it saves you money or whatever, it kind of, because that was the whole point. Like you have like the system that just looks different, but it technically only looked different. Where this time,
Yeah, with it not being too expensive,
Yeah.
I like it only because sometimes like it's a limited edition one, and then if that's not your first like console, either you just had to wait until they released a special looking one, or you had to buy it twice, right?
Right.
Whereas now you could have gotten it like just when you were able to get it, and then if they release these covers, now you can make yours look special. You're also not like, to be honest, going all in for a cover and then the game isn't as good as you thought it would be. Like, can
Yeah.
you imagine if you bought like a special edition Redfall, like
Yeah.
Xbox,
System or
right? And then
something.
like it's not great. Whereas like you can try the game and be like, yeah, I'm all about Redfall. Now I'll buy a cover or something like that, right? Versus
Yeah.
just being stuck. So yeah,
'Cause technically, you can go get your PlayStation cover. You can get your or Spider-Man. You can get your Spider-Man cover. And you can get your Starfield cover, and wrap it around the systems.
yep,
Leave it like that for a few months. Switch them out. Switch with because there are people out there who are kind of like mood gamers, where it's not just I'm playing this game for the mood, but I want to be like completely in the mood. Like my
yep.
controller got to match the game's swag a little bit. And
But
that might
also,
seem obsessive, but people do it.
some people, yeah, they're that involved. But also, like, sometimes you just want to change your aesthetic. It's the same way we're like, I don't know, having a phone background, right? Some people can stick to one phone background, and that's just their phone background, while other people switch out phone backgrounds. And I feel like having that ability for a console is awesome.
Yeah. I know with the PlayStation controller itself, you could pop out the little black plate and then put another plate. I have one of them that was switched. It was like a see-through blue.
Oh, cool.
You can buy those on Amazon. I think mine was like $8 and it came in. You just swap it out. Like I guess you'll be doing a whole bunch of that and just on a whole nother level. I told myself I wasn't gonna like try to customize the systems until we get to the point where it was like the mid gen. It was like halfway through. Like we're almost close to halfway through. As weird as it might seem, but yeah, like once we get to that halfway point, it was like I didn't want to buy a pro or a slim, but I'll switch covers around, and I guess I'll have the ability to do it with the Xbox as well. To an extent, it might seem like it's a little unnecessary, but yeah, I'll do it. Um, yeah, so shout out to Xbox and Starfield. I can't wait to get into it. I haven't gotten into it yet because of the crazy backlog, but I do plan on getting into it. I might get on Starfield like double actually, like once through Game Pass and then once on PC where I own it.
Okay.
Because the PC is gonna have like a lot of the crazy mods that I would like to get into. But on Xbox, I wouldn't mind doing it like on like through Game Pass once I get around to it. But yeah, great release for them. Very happy about this. They claim, or Phil Spencer claimed, that Starfield is supposed to be the first of many releases where they plan on having like 4 big name releases every year. We already kind of know the updated ones too, because it looks like it's like every 2 to 3 months, with the next one being the Forza game, and then it's going to be followed by Hellblade, and then I believe it was Avowed, and maybe Fable is going to jump in the middle of there somewhere by that time, going into late 2024. So it looks like they're going to have some releases. They're going to have some steady releases, so they're going to be making a comeback. So I'm very happy about that, being somebody who owns a piece of their hardware. And yeah, I guess we can move on. I got Kirby on the stage, or on the on the screen. And so let's talk about Nintendo real quick, bro. Let's talk about the Super Mario Wonder Direct, I believe is what it was
Yeah.
called, for Super Mario
So
Wonder. How you feel about it?
it looks fun. Like it just looks like a fun game. I did think certain parts looked too easy.
Yeah, of
So
course.
one thing that was easy was like, for example, in the trailer you get like a little rock helmet, and then like just nothing can hurt you now because you got the rock helmet on, and I'm like, I don't like that. However, I like the idea. It's like you can play as anybody you want, and then they even threw it there. It was just like they all play the same, so it's like there's no reason to be one
Yeah,
of the
like I
other.
remember that
Be whoever you want to be.
Yeah, they all play the same, kind of made me cringe a little bit, especially when we got to Yoshi. Because I'm a
Yeah,
fan of Yoshi, but I don't like the idea of Yoshi being the kitty one. Because they made it to where it was like he's basically Teflon, him and that other character.
yeah,
And that was actually a main reason why I didn't get his game. I was like, the game just seemed like it was for a kindergartner. It just looked and played. I'm like, Yoshi was not the kindergartner person. He was a side character, but
yeah.
him and Mario was still playing like a regular
So
Mario game.
I guess the reason why I don't mind it as much, right, would be, for example, if I'm playing through this game and I just want to be Yoshi, right? I could just be Yoshi whenever I want without it being now the game's harder.
Yeah,
Uh, and then there's like cases where it's like the reverse is like, what if I was like playing and I wanted to be Mario, but now I'm forced to be like Yoshi or I'm forced to be
yeah,
Peach, and I don't want to do this level anymore. Because like for example, like how it's like when Spider-Man switches you to Mary Jane, you're gonna have to do a stealth mission, and you're
yeah,
just like, I don't like these, I don't want to do this. Where at least this one, I think it's to keep the identity of a full Mario game, uh, without trying to shoehorn in like special stuff for special people. But now you get to be whoever you want to be. So if you don't want to be Mario, you can be somebody else. And I think it works towards the co-op part,
yeah.
where you could play with up to 4 people, so then everybody can still do the same stuff. Uh, but that was another thing. I didn't like the whole, if you lose, you can just be a ghost and then run into somebody else in the world
It
who's
was
playing,
goofy.
so
It
you can
was
keep
goofy.
going.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
kind of
I'm like,
goofy.
nah, just let me redo the level. But
Yeah,
it still looked
so
fun.
yeah, it looked fun. I wonder how that works though with their online structure because they had issues with their with like a lot of games where, especially the start, it's like very laggy and stuff. So I
Yeah,
wonder how that would work. But as a game, it looks good. I gotta say though, just as a show, my biggest gripe is gonna still be the same gripe it's been with Nintendo, and it's just I cannot stand how they have the commentary talking to you like you some sort of kid, like a tiny little kid. Like it really cringes me.
and
Cause
if
it,
you lose the level, you turn into a ghost. Ooh.
yeah,
But
it
then
was
you
just,
can jump into a person, and then you revive. Like it's
yeah.
just yeah, ugh,
It's always presented like PBS or something.
it is.
I'm like, first of all, the little kids are at school right now. They just went back, and y'all played this in the middle of the day, like in the middle of the week.
Truth.
So it's like, homie, like ain't no little kids being able to see this. Maybe they catch the replay, but no. But another big game that's going to be coming out for Nintendo. I believe this one is on October 20th,
Yep.
2023. So
October 20th.
that's going to
I
be a big
might
one.
pick it up with Spider-Man. I don't know yet.
Oh, you want to buy it right
Spider-Man's
away?
October 20th. Maybe, maybe
Okay.
not. So the only reason why I might not is because I still haven't played the Super Mario World with Bowser's Fury.
Okay.
I haven't played through that, so I don't want to be like one deep while getting another.
Well, see, that one's a little bit more 3D. The ones that I compare it to is like Super Mario Maker 2.
Yeah, but I don't
And
have any of those ones, so this is why it's like I might want a 2D one. So that's where I'm still where I'm stuck. Whereas like I didn't beat Breath of the Wilds, but I bought Link's Awakening and got like
uh,
halfway through that, the very cartoony old school one. Old
yeah.
school in terms of like it was more cartoony, but yeah, I haven't decided yet. What do you think?
Super Mario U Deluxe, I believe, and then Super Mario Maker 2 are the other ones that are like 2D. So it, like when I see it, that was the first thing I thought of. Although Wonder has like a certain type of polish to it, though. It has like a different, like they
Yeah,
use slightly different graphics for it or whatever. It don't look rugged or anything. Like with Super Mario Maker 2, you can make it look as old as the Super Nintendo. With some of the levels and everything, like it was done like that on design. But this one, it almost reflects the graphics a little bit of what the movie was, in a way. Just in a 2D space. So I was
yep.
like, okay, that's pretty nice. But I guess that's their bigger release that they're banking on. They didn't really focus on Super Mario RPG, I guess. I didn't see anything. If I'm not mistaken, weren't they both supposed to come out at the same time or close to the same time? But I guess one is a remaster and this one is new.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to it. I don't know if I'm gonna play it right away, but I will probably get it sooner rather than later because Nintendo games don't really go on sales. So it's like it really don't matter when you buy it. You're still paying like $50+, 55 to 60. So yeah, I'm gonna buy it. I'm happy about it. I'm still in the camp overall though, where it's like I do want to see more from Nintendo than just Mario. It seems like they really like gravitates a little too much towards Mario for me. But I mean, it's Nintendo. It's like they almost have to in a way, but it's like I would like if you look at Super Smash Bros., like there's a lot of stuff that's just missing as far as like their own solo games. But on top of that though, they also decided to turn Mario into a blood. All right, bad joke. But he has his own version of the OLED. Did you see this OLED? All red, everything.
I did.
The Super Mario OLED edition of this of the Switch. Are you gonna get a second Switch? You gonna get this OLED, man?
No, especially not with them announcing the Switch 2 eventually with every rumor. Like, no.
Yeah, so it looked pretty cool. It looked all right. I do think if you already have a Switch, it doesn't really make sense. I don't know who this is for outside of just a collector who just wants another system. I thought the Tears of the Kingdom one looked better. It was like gold in a way. Like I like that one better.
But I mean, some people really like the color red. I do. My favorite color. No.
There were people who used to collect, or maybe it was like after the fact, where they collected the different colors of the N64, all the transparent ones. Like they had like transparent orange and transparent green were considered like really rare, but they had those. And then they had a Pikachu one, and like that was the time when they did all that. GameCube as well, like a whole bunch of different colors. So it might still be a thing. I only need one. Maybe I can get a second one. Maybe I don't really see myself doing it, but yeah, especially with a Steam Deck and stuff, I don't really see the point. But yeah, cool. What I do I'm still on the camp of I want the Switch OLED 2 to be like, or not OLED 2, but Switch 2 to be like the best thing in gaming handheld, period. Not just you have like the game franchises, but I need that hardware to show up and show out, basically. I don't think that they can afford to put something out. I just don't feel like they can afford to put out a Switch 2 and it's like underpowered. I don't think they can get away with that this time. Because it's like you're not the only handheld on the block. Like it's different when you're the only handheld for like 5 years straight. It's like now, it's like you are not the only handheld at all. So yeah, I would like for them to really put some money behind that and really pump out something good. We're moving faster than I think that I would have thought, but that's okay.
That last time it's gonna take a while. So,
but okay.
But no, the overall show looked good.
It was nice and short. Like they did not buffer it up with a bunch of crap. Because the video I saw, it was like 15 minutes and it went straight to the point. Usually it's like a direct is like 40 minutes. They might throw a bunch of like interviews. Like, do you remember the PlayStation Gran Turismo one? It was the game, but they did a whole bunch of like museum style art. Like it was like a whole thing of a documentary and stuff about cars, and then only the last 5 minutes they showed you a race.
Yeah,
I was like, really?
When I turned on this direct, I got up to go do something, and then it just started, and I like ran back in, like, hold on. And I expected it to open with just extra talking and stuff like that. So yeah, they got to the point, showed off that gameplay. Again, like I said, parts of it look a little bit easier, but I think it still looks fun. Like it still looks fun enough.
I think it's going to be a huge.
Odyssey parts of
Yeah.
that to me looked easier than a normal game, and I still found some challenge in it. So
I think this is gonna be a big hit for the holiday though. I think this is gonna get
yeah,
bought for a lot of kids. It definitely appeals to kids, and then you're gonna have all the adults buy it because they're big time Mario fans and stuff.
yeah,
Um, but that's probably I don't think it's in the game of the year category like everything else.
okay,
It's but it is like right in that like it's in that stage where it's not too far out where it's going to be left out or whatever. Like it's coming
uh-huh.
out before God of War did the year before, right? But it
Right,
might be thrown into that family friendly game. I think it's going to be that category. I think it might win it. Because
okay,
Nintendo games usually win that category because it's like the unofficial Nintendo category where almost
yeah,
everything in that list is Nintendo. But I think this game might win it by default. I think it might win it. Which is fine. The battleground this year is definitely in the game of the year category.
oh yeah,
It's just I can't tell what's gonna like you have to have a full panel of like gamers. Like I would like to see it if somebody make that YouTube video where it's just like a big round table, everybody's on camera and they actually discuss it out and weed them out. Because this is like this year there's a lot of different categories of stuff and there's a lot of big names and a lot of hits. Some misses, but
yeah,
it's a lot of hits. You'd almost have to really nitpick
oh yeah,
just
which
to
is great.
yeah, and it might come down to performance or something that might get it out to shut down a game, but anyways, let's talk about games or studios that might shut down. Maybe we can throw a bad one in here early, because this is an interesting thing. This is something that I didn't necessarily want to see happen, but it happened basically. And so I'm talking about Saints Row and their studio Volition, which was
Uh-huh.
under the Embracer Group umbrella, basically. And they pulled the plug on them altogether. They pulled the plug
Yeah.
on it. Um,
So when we
yeah,
had talked about this earlier in the week, I said, "Oh, I thought they'd been shut down." I was thinking of Luminous uh,
yeah,
Studios, the ones who did some of the Forspoken. That's who I was thinking
yeah.
of that got shut down. But yeah, Volition. It's
I,
sad.
I think this is in that same category because I've seen some people make this statement where they said "Go woke, go broke." I've seen some almost
Yeah,
mocking the studios go down because I think Forspoken was almost in the same way where it was more of like the way the personality was for the girl and the personalities of the people in the Saints Row game was so cringy that it turned off people basically, but it also got people to basically drastically turn on the game almost immediately. I think it was a lot more harsher with Saints Row than it was Forspoken, because Forspoken still had its people who was like trying to defend it because it was like considered a PlayStation exclusive almost. But Saints Row didn't get no defense. Like I remember that game got destroyed immediately. With that one trailer with the black girl with the rocket launcher,
yeah.
like and
Which is
everybody
funny because you
around
can
it,
make your own character. But
yeah, like destroyed immediately. And it was cringy. It was definitely cringy. I remember I was saying I wanted to try to give it a second chance. I even made a video saying I wanted to give it a second chance.
so
um
honestly, I think because still talking about both of them, I do feel a little bit worse for Forspoken because I feel like it was like relatively like it was almost there. Could have been good gameplay.
mhm.
That I thought was fine in the demo. I don't know how well it would have been on like 20 hours of doing that, but like for what I played for the demo, it was fine.
Yeah,
But of course the cringe dialogue and things like that, which could just destroy a game. Where I
yeah,
feel like a sequel probably would have been so much better. And there's so many games and franchises where it's like you go back to that first one and that first one's horrible, right? Compared to where it ended up.
Yeah, that's
Whereas I
interesting
think the
too
issue with
because
Saints Row ruined the franchise. That was the
yeah,
issue.
like I can think like for today's day and age, it's weird how much they're just dropping a full studio like that. Because
Yeah.
if Borderlands 1 came out today in the condition that it was in, we wouldn't even have a full. You wouldn't have none of Borderlands.
Nope.
Like none of it
None
wouldn't
of
even got that
Borderlands.
far.
Witcher 1 wasn't that good.
Yeah, you wouldn't have The
I'm
Witcher.
sure Grand Theft
Um,
Auto 1 didn't look like Grand Theft Auto San Andreas.
yeah, it's a completely
Like there's
different.
so many of them that was just the franchise took a second
Yeah,
to really know what it needed to be. And I feel like Forspoken could have.
the industry is just strange right now because this kind of goes back to a lot of those free to play games that all closed down this summer. And then there's the game that I'm playing right now, Marvel Avengers, where I have until the 30th basically of this month to claim all of the outfits basically. Or and if I was to play with somebody online, I had no intention really to do that anyway, but like we're still in the generation and games are not lasting a year. That's what we're seeing. And Saints Row is now another one like that. Saints Row had a lineage at one point. Can you say the game was hijacked? Maybe it was hijacked, however you want to say it. But it's not the franchise's fault. You know, it's really not
I
the
don't even want
franchise.
to get political with it. It's just, it's not. It was like the franchise did its thing, and then it was like made for relatively a newer generation. It's just the newer generation doesn't care about this franchise, and the
Yeah.
generation that like would have cared about this franchise, it was not for them. I feel like that's happening with a lot of things now. They get
Yeah.
rebooted and everything, where it's like the people who would care about this care about it for the nostalgia reasons, and the people that you're trying to target do not care about this at all. So then it just becomes a mess.
Yeah, like, at least with Forspoken, it sounded like the team was absorbed into Square Enix, and Square Enix took control, and they were still working on putting that DLC out. And Forspoken's DLC did come out. It's just didn't nobody play, right? But
But that's a game I plan on still at some point eventually, maybe, like giving it a try. Now
yeah,
that we'll talk about it later with things being free, maybe I'll give it a try. I'm not in a rush, but I have my own issues with that. That's a different story.
we're probably gonna come back to Saints Row again in a like later on in the show anyway, because in its death, in a way, it was also considered a PS Plus game for this month. And yeah, I guess that's gonna happen in a few days from now or something.
I'll save that for my rant.
Yeah, so that happened at the last minute. So maybe I came to this topic too early, but yeah, it's the thing that I don't like is the studios shutting down. If the game shut down, that's one thing. I don't like how the whole studio is to blame, because at some point you told them to make the characters a certain way. You had an idea for an entire game, before they got to work on it. And so it's not their fault that the rest of the world don't gravitate towards, that type of character, that way of thinking, this new age stuff. Like, if people don't like it and they revolt against it, it's bigger than just that. Like you said, you don't want to get political. It's not their fault though. Volition is what I'm talking about. It's not their fault, So I don't like it when the whole studio shuts down. I also feel like a game should at least last the full generation. I've been saying that so far, and that's the bigger picture that I really don't like, because somebody out there did buy into this. They probably bought the full collector's edition if there was one.
Yep.
They bought into all of this.
And that's the issue with the whole thing. I feel like we're in this, and again, I tie it back to like with Forspoken. We're in this generation now for some reason where it's like, if it's not $1 million like or like a $1 billion franchise like banger, like right out the gate, it's not even given a chance. It's just like, oh
Yeah,
god,
because this ain't even a full year old, is it? Or is it? It might exactly be 1 year old.
yeah, I think it
Exactly
is about
one.
1 year.
Like 1 year and a few weeks, and then it's just dead. It's like, could it have really not made that much money? Like you're projecting, it just
Oh,
don't
Saints
make
Row came
nothing.
out February 2022.
So that's
Remember, it was originally supposed to come out like August 21, and then got pushed back to February
that's what I'm
22.
thinking. So okay,
Yeah.
yeah, but I mean, it's like I could see if you shut it down in like 2027,
I lied.
28.
I lied.
You know,
It was initial release date was February, and it got pushed to August. Sorry, August 23, 2022. Is
yeah,
yeah, it made it a year and like a week, a
a
year and a
year and
week.
a week. Yeah, that's what I thought. So like it shouldn't just be killed that fast because you got to also remember like there are other games that come out at the same time, bigger name games that people probably hold out for first. I can imagine even if Saints Row was the type of game that people wanted to see, like, or if it was the same as like 4 or 3, it wouldn't have beat Super Mario Wonder, right? It wouldn't have beat Starfield. It's not gonna beat Spider-Man 2. It doesn't mean like that it's that terrible. Like, yeah, okay, Saints Row wasn't that good, but let's say Armor Core didn't have Elden Ring right before it, right? And now Armor Core has to go up against the release of Starfield,
Yeah.
Spider-Man 2, you know what I'm saying? Like all these other games, Super Mario Wonder, that probably has bigger names that people probably want more, and they're saying to themselves, I'll go get Armor Core later. And then we hear, oh, a year later they're just shutting down From Software, right? Like it's just like, well, why? Because you didn't buy the game right away.
Remnant.
Yeah,
Remnant didn't get sold right away. Like it took a second.
yeah, and
And
then
if we would have followed his logic, they would have shut down after their first game because it was a VR game no one really heard of.
yeah, and
So
what's really weird about it too, because Remnant is attempting as hard as they can to, I guess, shield themselves from this. Is like, I don't know what's going on with the industry in general, but it's like if you don't hit a certain number, like that's just it. And it's just like for a lot of people, like if you're coming into the PS4 generation, right? Like people who was going into that generation, I'm almost willing to bet a lot of the games were bought at a discount at the end, like towards the like second half of the generation. Like there's got to be a bunch of people who scooped a bunch of stuff. I know I wasn't the only one who did it on Black Friday. Like there has to be a bunch of people who did that. And it's
oh
like,
yeah.
what, nobody canned Horizon, right? The only one we heard about, which was Days Gone 2 or Days Gone, having its sequel. That was the only thing that we had heard about, but they didn't shut the studio down. Like Ben Studios is still going, and they still have another game that they're working on that we don't know about yet. And I don't know if it's just because that was under PlayStation as a parent company, but I would imagine Embracer Group has enough money as well, as big as Embracer Group is, with all their acquisitions that they did as well. Like Volition could have still been his own thing, because it's like, well, how do we know you don't have a bunch more woke-ish games in development that hasn't been like broadcast to the public yet? Like, what do you do with them? You know, like, do you
Gone
just...
Forever.
Yeah, it's strange. So Saints Row, I mean, it kind of died a slow death in a way for a lot of people. I've heard some people lean towards the first two and lean towards the second two, and feel like they're just completely separate from each other because of how they were like presented, with the same characters being there. And then this was almost like an unofficial softcore reboot because they just had all new characters. It was just cringy as ever, but Saints Row as a franchise is probably officially dead. You will probably never see another one. Like that's probably the reality for the people who just liked it for the goofy stuff. because I enjoyed the goofy stuff. It was goofy for what it was. I didn't have to take it too serious. And then there were people who took the first two very serious. Like this game is different from all four. Like it was different from all four. Yep. They went a whole new direction, and it cost the franchise. And it's not fair to the franchise, because I can imagine if you were somebody who was on the goofy side or on the serious Grand Theft Auto side, I don't think either party asked for Saints Row's remake or whatever this is, right?
Nope.
I don't think anybody asked for it. But now that means, well, the franchise got to go away. Well, it's like, I can imagine on both sides, they're probably saying, well, no, just give me the Saints Row that I wanted and I will support it. But you didn't get the Saints Row that you wanted. And now you don't have a chance to support it, I guess, because it's just gone. And I guess that's the real shame of it, you know.
Absolutely.
That's the real shame of it, because that's not fair to Saints Row. It's a lot worse than Forspoken. Forspoken was the first in the franchise. It's like, we don't know what else it could have been, but with Saints Row, we knew exactly what it was. And you didn't get that, and now it's almost like they're punishing you, or punishing the franchise, or punishing the fan base, and it's like, but they didn't want that, you know.
Right.
So that's a real tragedy in itself, that I really don't like. I don't like that. Hopefully, though, with at least on the real side of things, Embracer Group is as big as it is. I would imagine Volition on the inside is just moved around to all their other studios. If they got rid of them, and they're like out of a job, that's not cool at all. Because it really wasn't their fault. They just kind of did their job, right? They just simply made a game. Now, it wasn't as polished. There was that, but I think literally in this particular case, people didn't like the content and the characters. It wasn't so much the broken game. That's what I'm thinking.
Although the
as far
broken
as
game
this.
was a part of it, though.
It's a part of it.
It was, you know, we already don't like the content, we don't like the characters, and we can't play it. But
yeah,
knowing how much execs have been having a say in things, it always makes me wary when I just like, I don't want to just be like the developers, right? Because maybe they didn't want to do any of that. The execs were like, nah, this needs to be in there. Nah, you got to use this language. Nah, like it has to release now. Like, so yeah, I mean the whole thing just makes me weary.
This might move into maybe your other topic. We can jump to that topic. Well, actually, we'll jump to that topic right after this. Did you want to say anything about your dodgeball game? This is your footage. Did you want to talk about it real quick?
So a game that I ended up finding on PlayStation Plus Extra.
Okay.
Dodgeball Academia. It's basically a nice, fun little RPG, about 8 hours, maybe 10, and you're just playing dodgeball. So if you remember that season of Yu-Gi-Oh where they were in school, Yu-Gi-Oh GX, so
Okay.
like everything was always themed about cards and things like that, and you handle like issues with that. Well, this game is almost like that, where everything's based off of dodgeball. And it was a fun game. Like I really enjoyed the game. It has its own little goof story, that it pretends is like super important and everything. So everything's like dodgeball, pun, and interesting characters, all super goofy, like a Saturday morning cartoon. I really enjoyed it.
Okay, that's awesome. Is this exclusive on that system, or can you get this like PC,
Nope.
Xbox,
I think it's
Switch?
I think it's everywhere.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken. Look that up now.
Okay.
So it is for sure. It's everywhere. So Switch, the PlayStations, the Xboxes. And
That's cool. That looks like something I could play on the Steam Deck or something, right? That's kind of how that looks
it'll
for
work
me.
very well there. So if you notice, like characters, like I faced off against a little pirate kid, and then the dude next to me is like a balloon guy named Balloony. Like it's all goofy Saturday morning cartoon stuff.
Okay, that's awesome. Well, so based off the other topic though, where we were talking about Saints Row and stuff, and the people who work there. You've been following the actors in this strike situation. So you're saying that the voice actors in the video game space is going to be striking soon. Is that true? What's going on with
That
that?
is. So apparently the it was the SHE after the strike, the voice at the guild, or not the guild, the uh their group that determines like their union and everything like that, have sent out messages saying if they want, the video game voice actors can join in on these strikes, because apparently they've been asked for a raise in pay, and they've been asked for like an 11% raise since last year, and it's just been like on hold with nobody wanting to do it, to give these voice actors more money. So now they're being invited to go ahead and join the strikes with everybody else, which means potentially some games that are supposed to release it next year or the year after could be put on hold if they don't have voice actors for it. So they're already seeing it with movies getting pushed back and shows getting pushed back, and you'll notice like a lack of like, there's no like celebrities showing up to shows to do interviews, to talk about their movies and everything. They're really relying on just the trailer dropping. And celebrities haven't really been advertising their movie outside, like where they're just like tweeting about stuff. They've had to stay quiet on it. So,
You know, what I was gonna say.
yeah,
I was gonna say like as a joke. This shouldn't affect Nintendo fans, so you ain't got nothing to worry about it. But then when I think about it, it's like they actually bring them in to do the mush mouth stuff too. It's like instead of them
true.
actually voice acting, they'd be like, it's like
And
what?
keep in mind, they're getting a new Mario,
Oh
right?
yeah,
So
they gotta
they
pay
might
that
have to
guy.
hold off, because
You gonna
he's
have to
gonna be
pay him
like,
for
no.
real. You can't hold him off because they put way too much stock in Mario. They don't want to put out no other game. They put way too much stock in Mario. You better pay that man. Y'all better pay him, whoever that is. That's kind of crazy. But what is the industry? I keep having to go back to this. This is probably gonna go into like the other stuff, but it's just like I don't understand the industry this generation so far. I don't understand like what happened because from 2018, 2019, it seemed like everything was fine. Stuff was coming out and we got great deals and we just played games. And then
People
all of a
were,
sudden it just seems like it's all turned on his head. I don't know
I
what's
think
happening.
part of the issue is it was during the pandemic times and people
Okay.
stay at home. Part of it is realizing a lot of self worth, and I'm not like, some people took it a little bit too extreme, but other people realizing to really like their time is valuable, right?
Yeah.
Like with like losing people or things like that. Like there's a lot of just like, well, you know what? I could like go to work every day. If I want to go on this vacation, I'm gonna go on this vacation. If I want to go to this concert, I'm gonna go to this. Is where everybody's at right now, and realizing that like, I guess the company doesn't necessarily care about you, and it's just like, well, then I can go elsewhere. I don't really care about this anymore. Like, working has become less important than your self health, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. And I think because of that, people are realizing like, yo, I'm having to work my butt off and risk myself to do all this stuff, where these like CEOs just get to like fly off to the Bahamas because everything's dangerous here. So they're just gonna fly somewhere, and that on top of that,
Yeah.
everything over the last few years, if you notice, has just been increasing in price. Like there's things that the way they cost now and what it cost in 2019 are vastly different. So it's like
Yeah.
the price of everything is constantly going on. We keep hearing it as like this food item needs to increase in price. Video games need to increase in price. Talk about the services need to increase in price. Like everything needs to increase in price to keep up with times, but then no one's getting paid more, right?
Yeah,
So
we're not cutting a
if you're
check to the people though. That's the crazy
right,
part. No matter what company
so
you in, what you're representing and what you sell, the bottom line person doesn't get an increase in
yep.
their paycheck though.
So when you hear something like, all right, video games need to now cost $10 more to make because for like per person because like all of these like funds and everything that goes into it. But then the voice actor, the stunt people, the motion like the mocap people, the developers, none of them are getting a pay increase to do this thing. But we needed to increase pay or like the cost of it to do this stuff. But they're not seeing anything. But then randomly, like CEO guy who walked in and was like, "How are things going?" And you said, "Good." And he like left. That was his day of work. Gets this $3 million bonus for being a good boss. Where it's like, okay, well, no, I don't need to do this. And then other jobs have been, not to tie in like personal life or things like that, but other jobs have also been stingy a lot with like hiring certain positions. I've noticed where
it's a political episode today, ladies and
it
gentlemen.
is, but like there's this thing where, and I've asked other people too to see if it was my job or just other jobs, and in relation to just jobs in general, it'll be like this person no longer has this position. Well, we'll fill it, but until we can fill it, it needs to get done. So these two people are like, whatever, we'll just do it until it gets done. And then the boss people are like, oh shoot, if y'all can do it at no extra cost, we don't need to fill that position. Never mind. Y'all got it. So then they do that, and then now all of a sudden it's like, no, we're outputting the same amount of work, and we are now able to save an extra salary. Good job, boss. Here's your little raise for like being able to manage that when he didn't have to do anything. So like because of that, and you can see it with the CEO for Disney, who I've never heard of that guy ever before, and then it's like he has like a $200 million salary, and he had the nerve when they went on strike to say they need to cut this out and just do their job, stop being silly. And it's like, what do? You go do their job then. You go and voice act everybody and act in everything. I've never seen you before, ever. And I feel like a lot of these boss people, it's like, if you just didn't show up for a week and no one would have noticed, then your job is not important and you should not be making that much money. But they do, and they don't do anything. And people are realizing that, so it's like, well, no, I'm going to strike because I'm going to shut your whole industry down, or you pay me what I deserve.
Yeah. Yeah, we're in a...
Sorry, I had to get that out.
No, it's fine, because I'm wondering whether or not I should crack character every now and then when we get to this type of thing, but I don't even want to do it. I want to just stick to gaming. But like, yeah, it's just strange time right now. It's a strange time with some of this stuff. Because you do also have to always ask, like, well, where is the money going? It's probably going to an investor or something. I don't know, but the bottom line, people are not getting paid, I guess. But let's switch gears for a split second to go to the halfway point. We'll do that, and then we'll get right back into more negative content. So the halfway point, unofficial sponsor time. This is where I highlight the stuff where the people can get something for free. And apparently, this has been an ongoing thing for the entirety of the podcast, where it looks like Epic Games, that's who I always use, they always keep giving you, a free game once a week, sometimes twice a week, and then they do that marathon thing in Christmas time. But somehow, some way, they're paying their bills over there. I don't know how they're doing it. Maybe it's Fortnite, but it doesn't seem to be an issue. Whatever they're doing, they seem to got it, and I don't think any of these companies shut down after this game goes out for free. But you can go under Epic Games, create a profile. You don't need your credit card or debit card. You can create a profile, claim all these games, and then when you go buy a PC, if you don't have one, I always recommend the ROG Ally for somebody starting off new. You log in, all these games are right there. The one that's going to be available from now until September 7th is called Cave Story. You can download that, or you can claim it for free. And then afterwards, from September 7th to September 14th, the game that's going to be free is called Spell Drifter. So yes, those two games right now, go claim them. Make sure you always double check in the Epic Games. And you know what's also interesting about it though, like it goes back to our other conversation. Let's look at Spell Drifter for example. So the game
Okay.
is set to be free under Epic Games from the 7th to the 14th. So as of the recording, it's the 2nd. This is going to go out on the 3rd. We got from the 3rd till the 7th for people hearing this where they probably can purchase it. You would think that this hurts their sales at least for a week, right? Because sometimes you get to hear this stuff way ahead of time. And so you would see people look at it and be like, well, I'm not gonna buy it. I'm just gonna wait. Well, the company doesn't shut down. you know, Epic, I guess, fronted the bill for them or whatever, but like they're okay. It seems like I don't know what's going on in some of these other places, but the bigger studio that puts out the bigger game, for whatever reason, they can't seem to do this. But Epic is saying you don't even need a subscription. You just, here it is. And you would think like, well, what is going on? How are they able to do this? Well, they're just able to do it, and I don't need to think about it. I just know that if they can do it, Saints Row and Forspoken, you guys could probably figure it out. Knockout City, you can figure it out. Some of them other ones that was like shut down, you can figure it out. Marvel's Avengers, you should be able to figure it out. So I don't know. It's strange, and it kind of upsets me because we're still itching closer to the big topic. But before we get there, the other thing that was probably cool, there was the PSP Reloaded trailer. You saw that they had a new one.
Persona 3, not PSP.
Oh, my bad. I'm still messing up. But when does this game come out, man? When does Persona 3 come out?
Great
the
question.
Reloaded. Because I think it's also still...
Persona 3 Reloaded is supposed to come out February 2nd.
Okay.
So they dropped a new trailer, like an announcement trailer.
Yep.
So Persona 3 P3P that came out portable.
Yeah.
How do I describe this? So basically, because they like double dipping on money and trying to take everybody's money, they always release a standard version and then this special version with some extra things happening that may or may not be canon, right? So like Persona 5 versus Persona 5 Royal, or Persona 4 versus Persona 4 Golden, and then it was Persona 3 versus Persona 3 Portable. And Reload is based off of Persona 3, so the original one. But like the graphics look great for those that like know the story. I'm sure it's a lot of like call out stuff that they're excited for. I've seen positive feedback from it. But the game looks good. I'm all into the Persona universe stuff, so I still have to try out Golden. Haven't started that yet. Then I'll jump into the Reload. But the trailer looked great.
Yeah. I believe this game is supposed to be day and date on Game Pass.
Nice.
And then I guess the next game we will talk about is also day and date on there right now. Sea of Stars.
Yeah, I had that on my list.
Yeah.
So
you want to talk about this, right?
Yep. So I haven't started it yet. But Stars, which is already, it was like praised like 9 out of 10. Like everyone's excited for it. It was. It's on Game Pass. Like it just came out this past Wednesday, I think. It is on Game Pass. It was on PlayStation Plus. It's just you have to buy it if you want it on Nintendo or PC. But it's available.
Okay.
It looks like a great game. Like I'm excited to play it.
Yeah, I've seen. It's funny enough. I've seen more Nintendo people talk about this game. Like at the same time, like Starfield came out, like where everybody else is talking about Starfield, I think Nintendo's audience is talking about Sea of Stars more.
Yeah, it's like a retro styled turn-based RPG like in the past, but with like updated mechanics.
Yeah. So hey, more power to them. I like the idea that there's a steady release of games when you have like all the platforms. If one doesn't have something, the other one seems to. Because like right now, so Starfield being the big Xbox game, The game we just talked about, Super Mario Brothers Wonder, will come out next month, towards the very end of it, but next month. And it's like, if you have access to everything, you have something on a steady release, and you move around. If you want to just keep up currently and didn't really want to have a backlog, anybody who has a backlog, I mean, you got everything, right? So, I like the idea of just having steady releases of stuff. Just don't like the idea of companies taking advantage of you, I guess. But we're almost there. I guess real quick, slightly off topic. Let's just throw this one out there real quick, and then we'll move on to the bigger one. You want to talk about Twitter, real quick?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's just do it.
Right, formerly known as Twitter, is planning on doing what other streaming, or not streaming, but social media apps have, where you could like face call or like FaceTime and chat and call over those, right? So you can like call people basically Twitter or FaceTime over Twitter. Which in its own would be like, okay, they're just doing what some of the other ones do. It's still weird because Twitter is a lot more like, I feel, public-ish, where like some people treat their other social medias that way, but I feel like there's a lot more control over like who see your Facebook post versus your Twitter.
Yeah.
Like there is ways to lock it, but I feel like Twitter is this place where it is a lot more just public and open. What's also bad is, if you remember recently, one of the other podcasts I mentioned that Twitter was planning on like removing the ability to block. So what could potentially happen is you try to block somebody, but you can no longer block, and then they harass you by trying to call you every 5 minutes over Twitter Messenger until you just delete it. They keep trying to call over and over and over and over again. Like that was immediately when they said they were doing.
So they bring him back the Xbox 360 days. That's what they do.
Yes. Yep. I guess if Xbox has the ability, like now they have the 8-strike rule, X is gonna be like, we don't, like trash talk over here.
Crazy. It's chaos.
Yes.
Hey, it is what it is. Let them have their chaos. Now speaking of chaos, we got some chaos brewing underneath a particular platform, the one platform we didn't talk about yet, or kind of talked about, PlayStation. I want to do the good before the bad. There is some good here. I want to do the good real quick before we get into the bad. Depending on how you look at it, this is considered good to some people, but I saw something that I thought was cool. If you are on PC and you feel as if it's not fair that you don't get your hands on Spider-Man 2 yet, I guess, because you're a PC player, you don't have to worry too much, because apparently somebody's been doing some crazy mods to the other PC versions of Spider-Man, and they got a completely working Spider-Man on top of Peter Parker from Spider-Man 2018, where you get to play as Spider-Man in the symbiote suit from Spider-Man 2. And it does some of his like symbiote freakiness with like the way the suit moves around and stuff when you're fighting and stuff. You can clearly see that it's still Spider-Man. Yeah, like you can still see that like it's basically still Spider-Man 2018. But I guess one of the biggest draws for him is the symbiote suit, and so you get to play at least in the suit, and it has some weird movements and stuff with the suit when he's moving around and stuff that was similar to the trailer. So somebody really worked on that, and they got a nice little mod there for you. So for anybody, you could probably hop on that today. It's available out there if you go digging. You can find that mod.
Two other things before we jump on this PlayStation, you just reminded me. So one, just real quick, with the dodgeball game, I forgot to mention, you eventually get like Dragon Ball Z like superpower move. So anybody that want to try that out, just go for it. It's super goofy stuff. Like I straight up had a Kamehameha wave. But it's super fun. Two, when you reminded me of the modding, WWE 2K23 is goofing off and is getting on a lot of people's nerves. So basically, in 2K22, I think it was the last one or the one before that. Or I think it was the last one because they opened up community creations amongst all three platforms. One guy and a few modders, they were able to basically any character that was like in game but locked to a specific mode, they were able to upload to community creations. So like My Rise has like They're My Career has like some since back to like 2018, since 2K took over, or 2K to whatever, they have been making their own like created wrestlers that have like had stories. Like for example, there was a guy Cole Quinn that in like one of the first games he's your main rival. Then in like another game he's sort of an ally, and then he's been a background character or like a jobber in certain towns in a new game. And then in the current one, like when you go to do mocap for like 2K, like in the game, he's the other mocap person. So like, you know, they have their own in-universe people who exist, and they're like locked to the mode for some reason. So this person was able to upload them to community creations for anybody that wants to use them, along with when they do their My Faction they want everyone to pay for. There's certain characters, like it'll be the old school Seth Rollins with the half black, half blonde hair shield one that's only locked to My Faction, and they're able to upload it to community creations. Well, for 2K23, they blocked it. Anything that's like any characters who are supposed to be like locked to a certain mode are deleted and blocked, like they're blocked out of the game. So a lot of people have been saying like they played through the story mode because it unlocks certain people, and that's the only way to unlock them. But then it's like, well, now I've gotten this whole story because you decided to make your created character a major deal. So now, like, I want to continue this story outside of it in my universe mode, and I can't do it because you won't let me get the character. So, yeah, that's I need 2K to fix that. Like, nobody wants to play My Faction. Stop trying to push it. Like, nobody likes it. Nobody wants to play your version that requires more money to upload packs, stuff like that to do stable matches. Like, nobody wants it. And nobody, like, people just want to create a character. Let them have it. Why are you blocking people? That's stupid.
All right. Well, speaking of something that don't nobody really want, PlayStation Portable, the $200 little portable handheld / controller thing, it will be coming out November 15th, 2023. We got an official date for this. We're also finding out that it has Android components in there, so it is possible that you might be able to do some workarounds and play some Android games on there, maybe. I don't know how it is, but I'm pretty sure there's going to be some modders or something. Somebody's going to figure it out, and they're going to mess around and tinker with this thing. But yeah, so that's going to be in there for that system. So is that something you want? You think you want that? No. Not at all?
No.
Not even a little bit?
Like, if it was its own system, like if it was like it could stream from this, or you could play its own games, like an actual PSP, maybe. But if it's purely just a streaming device, not really. Because at most when I would use it is if I feel like playing the game while laying down. I could do that and watch TV. Yeah. But like, at the trade-off is I can also just like watch TV off of my laptop and play the game. So like, I don't know, or it just feels like a waste of money.
If you already have the ROG Ally, I believe you have the ability to go in under like the streaming capabilities on all the platforms actually, except for Switch obviously. But like you can go in and utilize the Xbox stuff, utilize PlayStation stuff. The ROG Ally still also claims to have haptic feedback. I haven't actually tested that out, or at least the games I played didn't have it in the game. And so, yes, that's more expensive, I guess. But there's a lot more you can do with it, and it also allows you to play the games like natively, I guess. So, I don't really. if you already have it, there's no point of you getting this. But outside of that, I think I would put my money, if I was to choose, I would actually go for the DualSense Edge. Just for me, I don't see the point in having this. It just seems like we're creating hardware now just because. I'm almost believing that now. It seems like it's just because, like, we're not as harsh on Nintendo for the Super Mario like OLED edition. It's just like, well, here's a red system, but it's like it's starting to look like it's just stuff coming out just because. But lack of better terms, useless. I don't know. It's just
I don't know. I forgive Nintendo a bit for that because, like, if you think back to the PS4 era,
yeah,
there was no reason to make a God of War special edition PS4 that late in the generation. They just did it, and then like other people had like special edition ones that late into the generation, but it was just like, we made it to make it, and I feel like that's what Super Mario Switch OLED is a constant thing. But like this piece of hardware, it feels like how much are you really about to use? That's what. I
think it may have been not a good idea to compare it to, because I think with the special edition consoles, they have a certain amount that they were going to make, period, and then that was it. Yeah. Like if you didn't get a Zelda Tears of the Kingdom one by now, you're probably not going to get it, and I don't think they're going to print anymore. They're going to just print these out. So you might find it, or you just don't find it, and then they have the the red OLED now. But like with the portable, it's like that's supposed to be its own distinct SKU, its own thing. And technically speaking now, the PlayStation experience, if you wanted the full experience, you have, depending on where you live, the system is going to be the 500 or 550, right? The VR system is an additional 550, and then there's this for 200, and so you're looking at most $1,300 almost, right, for the whole.
But you also have to get the DualSense Edge controller.
Yeah,
the headphones.
There's more hardware out than software in a way. But it's like useless. It's having the same effect as other things, and I think it's also like you're not playing from the cloud. You're playing from, like, you're mirroring the system itself. Your system has to stay on in order for you to do this. And then if you're on a certain channel on your TV, everybody at the house can see what you're doing in a way. And you're playing the game out on the go, I guess. And you have to have good internet. There's a lot of components here where if you had a native solution like Steam Deck, ROG Ally, I can even argue a Switch Lite might be better than buying a PlayStation Portable. Like if you was somebody who had a PlayStation 5 and didn't have everything else, of that rare person, I would argue to go for the Switch Lite before I would tell you to go get a portable. I don't know who this is really for. It reminds me of the Logitech device when we were talking about. We don't know who that one's for, and that one I think was like $300 at one point.
I honestly think. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say the only reason it's relevant is because it's under PlayStation. I don't think it would not have been relevant otherwise. It would have been just in the same category as that Logitech device. I don't even know what the name of it is anymore. I just know it was a Logitech device.
Yeah, I honestly, the only thing I can think of is like a parent. You have kids, and the kids always want to hog the TV doing other stuff. So while you're like watching them, or you could just turn on your game to do something and leave. And then because everything's, let's say, hooked to one TV, right? So you can leave and they can watch their streaming shows or play like Switch if they want to play Switch, and you get to like lay back and play
I was gonna say like that's what I would tell everybody is to get the Switch.
It's such a specific case that like I don't see it. Yeah,
but that's the thing I'm saying. Like, there's already a solution for that case, and it's literally the Switch. The Switch already covered this. It's like you would just play a Switch game for that amount of time. And then you have access to a whole nother group of games. So it's like you can't play let's say Horizon Forbidden West right now. So you would go play Super Mario Wonder. That would be the solution in my head.
Yeah.
And you have more variety. But I mean people will still try it out. I kind of predict this to have a little bit more people buy it compared to the VR2 simply for price alone, because it's $200.
Yeah.
I also predict that people are gonna crack the screen very easily. And it's just gonna be ruined that fast. And I don't think a lot of people are really talking about that, but I think that's really gonna happen very quickly, as the screens are gonna just be breaking left and right. Because it actually looks more flimsy to me compared to a Switch. A Switch looks a lot more solid. It just does. I don't know. But yeah, PlayStation is just, they put out something that didn't nobody ask for. I guess. What else did they do that didn't nobody ask for, man? You want to tell us what else did they do?
This stupid price increase. So they just decided, for no reason, PlayStation Plus Essential starting September 6th will now cost $79.99 instead of $59.99. Extra is going to go from $99.99 to $134.99, and Premium is going to go from $119.99 to $159.99. So from Essential to Premium, it's up $20, up $35, up $40. They said the price adjustment will enable us to continue bringing high quality games and value added benefits to your PlayStation Plus subscription service. So let's talk about these high quality games. The games that are coming out for PlayStation Essential for September: Saints Row, a game with a 61 Metacritic score and a 2.9 user score. Black Desert Online Traveler's Edition, which has a 61 Metacritic score and a 3.8 user score. And then Generation Zero, which is like some first-person shooter wannabe Armored Core, that has a 45 Metacritic score and a 5.9 user score. This is the high-quality games that they needed to raise the price for. Like, you can't, in the same sentence of raising the price, they said you're going to get Saints Row after the studio just shut down because their game was bad. Like, wow, how does that make sense? What, like, at first, because it was like, is it because of Sea of Stars? Like, they gave a Sea of Stars at the first day, and then they're like, raise the price. Like, is Spider-Man 2 coming to PlayStation Plus is extra? Like, if Spider-Man 2 is coming to extra on the first day, all right, I'll like stick to the $130. Like, if that's what we're gonna be doing. But other than that, like, are you serious?
Yeah, I found this to be very disrespectful for one of the main reasons is that the increase happens, I think, immediately. Like, I don't think they didn't give you enough time. Like, I don't know if it's them adjusting to what happened last time when they were trying to take away PS Now to absorb it into PS Plus and create these tiers.
And then everybody just bought a bunch of...
everybody bought it. People was taking screenshots where it said it expires in 2030. Stuff like that. And so they're like removed your ability to stack, which I don't know if they quietly brought it back, but it sounded like people were able to do it. I haven't tested it, and I may not ever test it at this point. But I just didn't like the fact that this is supposed to be effective for September. I don't know what the exact date was, but it's like it's September literally 6th. Immediately. September 6th. Yeah, they don't give you no time at all to adjust. Like, it wouldn't have been that bad. It's still bad, but it would have been a little bit more of a breathing room if they told you right after the holidays, like starting January 1st. I think people wouldn't like it, but it would sound better that way. It doesn't sound good at all like this, and that's the biggest thing that I don't like. I also don't like, obviously, the higher price, but I don't feel as if I got a better value. The timing about this really is awful because yes, you did say this and then immediately hand you arguably one of the worst games that came out last year.
They gave us 3 games that are all below 60%. Like it's
Yeah.
just they're all considered bad.
It's
And it's weird to me that it's like, what is the quality that you're saying it needs to go up on? Because you still remove games from extra and plus,
yeah, it
like
doesn't
or
stay.
premium.
They don't
Remove
stay.
stuff.
Yeah.
You didn't announce like any other major games coming. Like the game that like was put on there for day one, Sea of Stars and everything. Cool, but like it's not like an exclusive or something like that. That you're like, hey, just you don't even have to buy it now. I don't know. I'm just not seeing where this price, especially because from the only difference between like premium and extra, really is the access to PS1 games. There is a rumor that I saw, but I don't know how true it is. But I just saw it like earlier this morning that they might be working on like a new system to emulate more PS2 games on the PS5. So that could be the premium thing where it's just going to be a buttload of PS2 games hopping on there. But still, like $150 like a year for that, like that is insane. Like you were the $60 a year to be able to pretty much play online, and you still got some free games each month. Like that was just leave it. Like no one's hurting over there. That's what I'm not understanding. It's like no one's hurting for money, and it's another case of just things costing more, but everyone's still making the same amount of money. You already increased the price of games, like themselves. Why are you increasing this too for no reason?
I did see from one person blame Xbox for this. This is one thing that I do want to address. It's not the consumer's fault if you lose Call of Duty's money. Like I really think that part of this has something to do with that. It's not our fault. Like if that deal really is about to go through,
it.
I think they're going to lose it in October because I think that's when the deal is supposed to officially be done unless they try to figure out how to push it back again. But the thing about it is it's not our fault as the consumer. It's not my fault if you lose your big gravy train of Call of Duty. You know what I mean? Even like they're still supposed to get like I guess a 10-year deal or whatever, but the damage will be done because people will look at it like it's an Xbox game. And then if it's also day one on Game Pass, it is really over on that point. But that doesn't mean that you take it out on the fans. Like you put out the Bungie or whatever equivalent. Like that's what you're supposed to do is put out the $70 shooter that can compete with Call of Duty. And they're not putting faith in their studios. And they're just charging just because. But like it's one thing for you to charge a $10 fee. Like I'm gonna be honest, I've been really like I've not that I don't feel like I've turned on PlayStation this generation. I feel like PlayStation turned on me, to be honest.
Yeah.
Not even like I wasn't trying to like be categorized as no fanboy for the other side or anything. But honestly, it feels like they turned on us. Because I remember when I was talking to you about it before, like that one year, either 2021, 2022, I think it was 2021, where it seemed like every month they just kept having back-to-back bad news. It was just like with the PS3 situation and stuff. And that price hike doesn't even make sense because it's not even like going up proportionately. It looks like it's exponentially going up as you go up per tier. And I'm like, well, I understand a PS3 back compatible PS3 is probably expensive out there and old, but I can honestly tell everybody that's your best bet is to go get that and then just go to the mom and pop store. That's what I did. You know what I'm saying? It was a one-time shot. 2 years into this, you're actually paying more than what the backwards compatible PS3 is, you know, for you to just own that machine, you know?
Yeah.
And then on top of that, like you don't get all the licensed games. You don't get, there's like a slew of a whole bunch of games that's just missing. from these
Yep.
generations. They literally can't put certain licensed game on there. Like for one I've talked about in the past is 007. Like
Uh-huh.
you see 007 GoldenEye coming back for a split second because they made a license for it because it was popular, but all the other ones are dead. You would have to get the PS3 or a GameCube or a Xbox 360 in order to play those, right?
Yeah.
They'll
And
never be on this system. But go ahead.
one of the other issues that I have with this, so like two of the games that I've been playing recently that were PlayStation Plus Extra, just because I
Yeah.
wanted to try them out since I upgraded, and it was the Dodgeball Academia game
Mhm.
that I really enjoyed, and this other game called like Monster Boy and the Cursed Kingdom, which is like a nice little like platformer, puzzle platformer that I've also been enjoying. But it's like I'm not playing these super mega AAA games. Like I'm going after these relatively like indie games with
Right.
small developer studios, and I was just like, while I'm like in between playing this major stuff, I can try this little game out and see what it's like. So you increasing the price to me just hurts those like developers. Because now I was just like, well, now I'm not gonna try the game because I'm not gonna pay that much for extra premium or things like that. Like I'm going like if I'm gonna keep, it'll be back to essential, and that's me having to look up how does like online gaming work if I don't have it, or however many's in the backlog that I still want to play that were PlayStation Plus games. But around that, I don't know if I want it. Like with this price increase, especially for no reason. Uh,
So I do think I'm gonna let mine lapse. But I was one of those people. So in 2019, when everything was nice and sweet, I had took advantage of one of the deals that I saw. I think it was like a Black Friday time, and it was a PS Plus deal where you were able to get a full year for like $25 or something like that. It was like
yeah,
really low, and I did stack. I stacked a lot that year, but I didn't want to get too greedy. I was like, let's just stop. That's the official halfway point, and then we'll see how it is. I might actually just be on Game Pass. And that's kind of looking like how it's going to be now, where my subscription expires December 2024. So I technically have some time, but I think
mine
what I'm
is April 24 because I started stacking mine in like 2018. So mine's April 24.
yeah, I didn't want to stack too much further because I just thought it was just kind of greedy, and I didn't know the state of everything, how it was going to be. If I had known, I probably would have been one of those people who stacked to 2030 or whatever. And I know, like, I think on the Xbox side, you can only stack up to 3 years at a time. But, like, it was just kind of ridiculous to see something like this right now because the only thing I could think of is they don't want to lose a certain revenue amount at a certain point. So they're willing to just charge us versus I really think it comes down to that Call of Duty. Call of Duty must have made a lot of money for them. And they see the writing on the wall and they've set this like 1 month before the deal is supposed to go through. And it's
Remember,
like,
I said before there was like 60% of PlayStation owners only got it for Call of Duty.
yeah, but the thing is,
So
it's not the rest of us. It's not our fault. And it's not up to us to like make up for them. You know
I
what I
agree.
mean? It's not up to us. And then at the same time, if you look at PS Plus in general, there are two things here. You want the monthly game and you want to feel as if you got a good deal, right? I mean, yes, you do still want to play online as well, but the monthly games and also thinking you got an excellent deal for it is what you want to feel like, right? As a consumer, I just don't feel like the deal is that good anymore. And when I look at what was
Nope.
being produced, it is always the games that were on sale during Black Friday right before it. Because we've seen this and we can attest to this that over the course of the next first 6 months, almost all of those deals were made PS Plus games.
That happened to
That
me. I brought it up on the show before that I bought like 10 games in the following 6 months, they were released on PlayStation Plus.
But the thing about it too is like those games are usually $15-$20 each during Black Friday, right? And
Yeah.
then you just own it. There is no renting. You don't have to keep going back into it. And like you rent or you have the subscription because you wanted to get a deal. You wanted to have access to 3, 4, 5 games for like your $70 instead of paying $70 for one. But we're still in a space where there are still some physical games out here, even though some of them were trying to dodge being physical, like Remnant 2 was, right? It didn't want to be in the full stores. But for majority of the games, you can still get them in the stores. And the main thing is it's just simply like for Game Pass, it's not day and date. It's like, why would you increase? Like, you're not giving me. So Spider-Man 2 is not going to be in there. Factions 2 may or may not be in there. I'm guessing no. Right? Immediately, at least. It's like, okay, when Returnal and stuff, like certain games go in there when they're considered old, right? But by the time they get there, if you go out to the stores and stuff, they're already on sale.
Yep.
And it's like, well, I might as well just buy it. And like I could stop gaming altogether for a couple months or something and then come back to it and just play because I own it. But I didn't have to pay a subscription fee the entire time. And that's where I'm looking at it at, because the only other thing is having access to online, and I don't think that that's fair to people who probably did want to just have access to online. Like everybody don't have to pay your Call of Duty price tag, basically. Like if you really lost Call of Duty, you just lost it. That's on you. That's not on the consumer. That's not on the consumer at all. But on top of that, like, I just don't feel like I'm getting that valuable of a deal anymore.
Nope.
I feel like there was something else that I wanted to probably give me some detail on, but I'll lead into it in a second. But I just feel like PlayStation has really gotten ahead of themselves this generation, just a little too much. The PS4, the generation, especially the second half, it was fantastic. It was really nice. But next thing you know, I couldn't just put my game into the PS5 from the PS4. I had to buy these upgrade fees. I have a whole system that should upgrade no different than a PC, right? Yep. But I can't. I gotta pay some sort of fee in order to upgrade. Where if you were on the PC side, if you had the game, smart delivery on Xbox. But more importantly though, for the PC side, because they also told you that you're gonna need the PS5 to play some of these games. You need this crazy SSD, right? And then next thing you know, what was happening, like games were going on PC, like one by one they were going on PC, some of the most prestigious ones, right? God of War being the one I could think of. I would not be surprised if Last of Us Part 2 is probably going to go on there whenever they get factions done.
God of War, Spider-Man.
Yeah, so when you look at the PC version, they weren't listed on the system or on PC as $70, right? They were all going on there at a discount, and they were all going on there complete. Like it wasn't that you didn't pay no DLC costs on PC, basically. You know, and so if you're on the PlayStation side and you bought the system and you're getting taxed for every little detail, you're looking at it like what is going on here? I gave you, I made you the empire that you are. And the next thing you know, you rolling out the red carpet for the other side. And this is still coming from somebody who has the PC platform. I do have like access to it, and I bought the handhelds. I bought all of them. And it's still, it just didn't look right to me. I didn't really like, I didn't appreciate that. I thought it was a bad look. Like it kind of was like somewhat like not really taken to heart that much by everybody. Maybe the diehards, but like even if you still had like a 2 or 3 year wait or something, it still just didn't look right to me, because there were certain games, even with the third party type games, where we covered this in the past. Like, how is this $60 here and $70 here, right? And it's like with that version, like somebody with like a 3090 or 4090 would play what should be considered a superior version of a game, but paid less. And then you're here, you gotta pay for online on top of like an upgrade fee, or just $70 while the other person doesn't even have to pay it. And then they have access to mod it. They can turn the game into a freak show, like how they've done with some of these Resident Evil games, right? And it's like, I don't have the ability to do any of that stuff, right? But I'm paying top dollar. And then in real time on PC, there is no online, like, you don't have to pay for online. You simply just get on your computer and you just play with your friends, right? We talked about Epic Games every episode. There is literally no subscription to Epic Games at all. I'm not. Epic Games is not worried about you having Call of Duty only on Xbox, apparently, right? Epic Games seems to be fine. However they're doing it, they come out with games 4 times as quickly as PlayStation with no subscription costs, right? I mean, I'm not hating on the PC platform. I think the PC platform is fantastic for some of the things that they're able to do, especially with the mods of old games, with the new graphics cards and everything. But the carpet has been laid out for them, and if you are somebody who's primarily PlayStation, you don't get the same treatment, and it's coming from the actual company that you're giving money to. It's sort of strange to me overall, because it's been a whole lot of things that I've been like looking at for a while, like it don't add up, and it's kind of like the last straw for me, to be honest. It's kind of the last straw, but like literally, like the red carpet is really rolled out for the other system, because even on the Xbox side, when they did the increase on Xbox's Game Pass, if anybody remembers, Game Pass went from $15 to $16.99, right? That is for Ultimate, which includes the console. But if it was PC Game Pass itself, PC Game Pass was $10. The price remained the same. And I was just like, when I remember seeing that, I would be, because Ultimate, yeah, you have both, and it would make sense. Like, okay, you probably would go for Ultimate if you want both, and then if you want EA. But it was just like, at the same time, when everything increased, how come it didn't increase on that side? That's just my thought process. Because the way this makes me feel, I was already going to get a PC tower anyway. The way I look at it is, I have until my due date, which is December 2024, to basically get that ready for my multiplayer stuff. I still play some of their exclusives and stuff, but my multiplayer stuff, anything that needs multiplayer, going forward, I think I am going to pull the plug on PlayStation. I don't feel like I need to give them money for something like that. I might as well just play it on my computer, because my situations might be different from yours, because I also have to think about my data cap. Remember that? Not too many people online know about it, but some people, I think a lot of people might have the same issue, where you might have a data cap in your area, and in your area, even if you paid more, your cap was still kind of the same, because that's just the coverage that you get, right? So this doesn't help me at all. Like, it would be crazy to think that I got to pay more for that, and then when I'm trying to use it, like, I'm also getting charged a fee from my actual internet provider if I ran out of data, quote unquote, right? That's absurd to me. So it's like, I might as well cut the middleman out and save me some money if it's just getting that point. I keep like a spreadsheet actually of the PS Plus games that I've already claimed, to make sure I don't accidentally buy it twice. What I
Same.
think I'm
Same.
probably gonna do is cross-reference it with Epic Games and a couple other places, and check off some of the other stuff, and then I will power through the ones that I really want. I don't feel like I need to try to do all of them, but the ones that I really wanted, some of them I'm already doing. Um, some of them I'm already doing. A Plague's Tale is one of them. Like, I would just go through it and play some of them, and then I think I might just let it lapse. I still also recommend everybody out there go find your local library. You don't have to worry about any of this there, and they have all platforms there at your local library where you can just rent stuff as long as you live in the area. I still recommend that. I don't think anybody really needs to pay more unless they just really want to. Yes, for essential is only $20 extra. I just see the slippery slope. I see it still happening because afterwards you're gonna start getting the live.
$30 a year is a lot if they're not going to give you again. Maybe they're going to magically announce in like October, December, or November. Maybe the games are going to be much better than what they're doing. But like, even their biggest game that they gave you, the most expensive, probably would have been NBA 2K23. But they gave you that a month before 2K24 came out.
Yeah, it's those type of things. So on average, the games are 1 to 2 years old, and they don't put games on their day and date. I would not have the issue as much if their new games is on their day and date. Spider-Man.
That's what I was saying. That like, if they do that, like if that's what they end up doing, which say, well, what if that's what they ended up doing? Right? I'll come back on here and say, yeah, I'm sticking with it. I won't laugh.
Yeah, but so they're not doing it, right? So Wolverine, you still gonna have to pay full price for it, right? You'll be lucky if you see it go on there 2 or 3 years later, because even with the games that was going on there, it was typically the ones that just didn't do well, like Returnal, right?
Yeah.
It has to like I understand their pattern. It's like the games that don't do well are the ones that goes on there, but that in real life, those are the ones that also go on sale. So it's like I would just buy them, you know. Right now, there's a bunch of people playing Starfield. That game was day and date on Game Pass. It's justified the $16 versus $70. That's justified. When it's day and date, they're not waiting 2 years and paying into it for 2 years. So imagine you got to pay into it the entire time before a certain game gets on there. It seems absurd to wait for that. And then at the same time, some of these games was not coming out polished. I do still remember the sneaky trick that they tried to do with Gran Turismo 7. That was sneaky. You know what I mean? The sneaky tricks, they introduced the actual microtransactions after all the reviews was done. That was the sneaky trick for anybody who didn't know. And like that's a behavioral thing. That's something, you know what I'm saying? Like you have to judge them by their character almost, and there's too many bad character things that I'm seeing that I just don't like. I have a year in like 3 months, and afterwards I don't think I'm gonna renew. The only way I would is if I see a crazy deal with like one of the codes and they allow you to stack it, then maybe I'll consider it. But I'm not paying you $80 for that. It would have made more sense if it was like $70, because like before it was like in line with the price of what the games was, but you're charging more than what that is. And so it's like you can't even use the hashtag like for the price of one game you get access to all these games for 1 year or whatever. It's like you can't even say that no more, you know. I might as well just buy them. I bought Returnal. I bought I bought Ratchet and Clank for $5. That was a special deal. But Returnal was $30. A few of their other ones was $30. Horizon Forbidden West was $30. We split it in half. It was $15. Right? We wouldn't do these type of things if it was day and date on there, and if it was like a part of it. But as long as you're not giving us day and date, it doesn't have that much value. It was like, and at some point, some of those games I was just kind of claiming For the most part,
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are in that ballpark where you'll try the big game, or you'll try the game that probably debuted through PS Plus,
Yeah.
but it's more of a you'll try it. You're not
But
really.
also, like I said, I've tried other stuff, right? Like I tried Monster Boy and I've been playing it and I'm enjoying it. I beat Dodgeball Academia, like that took over. Like that was the only game I was like really playing when I did it. So I do sometimes find gems on there, but these are by all means not new. And I could have looked up Dodgeball Academia, see what it was like, and then which I was gonna do, and then just buy it. Like I could have, but it was like Same thing with Monster Boy. That was on my list to buy, and then I just didn't buy it because I was like, I could just play it off of the PS Plus since it was just on there. So I was
Right.
like, okay, cool. But it was on my list to just purchase. So I was gonna
Yeah.
just buy the game anyways. But it's just and it's like I prefer things day and date, but even if it's not day and date, like you can't have months where people are like, well, this is a bad month for PlayStation Plus. Like which is September is a bad month for PlayStation Plus. Like every game there isn't a game on here that was favorable among fans.
Yeah.
Like the highest rated one is a 5.9 mixed average reviews. Like that can't be your best game, and then you say we're increasing the price because we're giving you top value. Like you're not giving us top value.
Yeah.
You just gave us a bunch of crap.
And Saints Row can be found right now for as low as $20, where you can just buy it and own it, right? Because of the state that it's in. At some point, I can imagine Forspoken would be another one of those games, and it's just like, but it's not good. It's not good. But I don't want a subscription where I'm giving the worst of the games, but I'm paying the top money. It doesn't sit right with me. That's the difference with that in Game Pass, because at least with Game Pass, at least right then and there, you get to determine whether the game is bad immediately. You know what I'm saying? Everybody who played Redfall, like you got to play it immediately and you got to determine whether it was good or bad. And then you moved on to Starfield now, but you also have some third parties in there. One of the hottest ones that's hot right now is that Texas Chainsaw Massacre game. That came day and date in there. Wolong Fallen Dynasty was day and date in there. Right. This game we just talked about, Sea of Stars. And it's like on their side, the most relevant one that they had was Stray, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And they may have had some other ones, but it's like it's far in between. It's not every month that they're just going in there.
Correct.
And that's something that what people would want if you're looking at essential, or not essential, but extra. But yeah, even with essential, it's like you're giving me the worst games that just didn't perform, and you throw the bag at the people later. But
games that didn't perform well, and you're paying for your online services for $60 a year, you're still getting some free stuff that maybe you still wanted to try. Because didn't perform well doesn't also automatically mean bad. Okay, increasing that one is like no. No.
Yeah.
If
but
you
at
were
the same
increasing extra instead, it's gonna have day and date.
Yeah.
To me, that's like okay. Like maybe some people would still be upset, but it's like all right, that's something maybe I would try out.
Yeah.
But no, you're just increasing it for no reason. So again, unless October is about to have a banger of a month with releases, and like November is like, and you get Spider-Man 2 for those that didn't buy it 2 weeks. Like unless that's happening.
But even then too, I still got to go back to the whole behavioral thing. You gave the people a week's notice. Like somebody is like literally set to renew or whatever, and you basically put them in a situation where they might not have known right away. You also potentially block their ability to stack, right? I wouldn't be surprised if it's like pre-blocked again, if it wasn't already still blocked the entire time. You know, that's a behavioral thing where I look at it and just be like, okay, that's kind of, it just comes off shady. It feels shady. It seems shady. This is a Jim Ryan thing. Jim Ryan is almost Elon Musk almost in a way. And PlayStation is starting to feel like Twitter. That's the best way I can put it. Where it's
Bad decisions.
yeah. I don't know if it's gonna make them more money. If it does, more power to them. But I'm not about to buy into it. One of the things I just wanted you to tell me about, and maybe the people, impromptu at the last second before we get out of here, because I was already thinking about this when I was hearing about this. I was just like, well, if anything, if this is the game that they'll play, then I only can think about playing back. And the way that I would play back is, instead of giving you the money, I will go give it to GameStop, and I'll just get everything used, and you won't see my money. So can you tell me a little bit about this? Because I was already thinking about getting their membership, and I didn't really want to go out there and ask them right away. For some reason, I am very, very itching to go buy Armor Core, but I wanted to wait until I get their membership. But can you give me some details about this? And for the people, if we want to give GameStop a second chance, because I'm starting to look at it like it's the lesser of two evils. Because even with GameStop, they never really, like, it didn't seem that shady. You know what I'm saying? They didn't seem like they were strong arming you. They just wanted you to offer you some stuff, and then for whatever reason, they wanted to buy your cell phone at one point. But, like, can you tell us, like, how does this pro membership work? What's going on with that for the people who might want to just buy games physically and, get it from them?
Okay, so, because they're slightly revamping it a little, I'll talk about that one, which is not terrible. When you first sign up, you get a $10 welcome reward, and every plus $5 whenever you renew your membership. Every month you're given $5. Which I know sometimes it's like, oh, $5, but no, like sometimes when it's like, for example, I just bought Remnant, and I was able to use some points to take down the price, and then with that extra $5 and everything, like it cost me $20 to get it.
So let me ask you about that. Like, so as far as the points, do you accumulate points for purchase or just purchase of used games?
You did accumulate points per purchase, but they're removing the point system, unfortunately.
Okay, so that's gonna be no. So is it just strictly $5 off a month starting the second month, or the next month after you get it?
$5. Yep, a month starting the second month. $10 for the first month, and then $5 after that.
Okay.
Every time you trade something in, so if you trade in a used game, you get 10% extra trading credit. You get access. So I have it pulled up. Access to exclusive sales. So sometimes they do like extra, which I've seen before. So for example, as a collector with the Funkos, every once in a while GameStop does like a random just buy 2 get 1 free, as long as you're a pro member. So they'll have that. 5% off all pre-owned product completely. So collectibles, clearance items, GameStop product protection plan. So whatever the cost of was it for used, if you're a pro member, it's an extra 5% off automatically.
Okay.
I think that was the new thing that replaced the reward point system. Because before it was just you pay for the price and you start accumulating points, and then after so many purchases, you could just like, I'm going to take $10 off. Where now it's just worked in anything that you buy used, 5% off.
Yeah, because people like you was exploiting the crap out of that. Okay.
I did.
I exploit my rewards in other places too, but okay.
2% back in rewards, but I don't know what that part exactly is. But they'll have reward stuff. But it might tie into the whole like take an extra like $10 off or things like that. And then Game Informer, if you're still like they do it digital, so you get to like read digital magazine as well. Okay,
because I was going to ask about that too. Like, so it's all strictly digital. You don't get that in the mail no more. I'm old.
Yeah, but that was more Game Informer's decision, not GameStop. The Game Informer stopped doing physical, so GameStop just had to tie in, and now it's
So is this sent to your email?
Yep, you tie it in with an email. So what ends up happening is there's actually a Game Informer app.
Okay.
Or use your GameStop app and you can click on Game Informer and everything, and you'll just have access to all the magazines. that you can just freely read as you want, which is cool because like they used to. For those
Can
of you
you
that have never,
download it from out of the app, or is it just stuck in the
yes,
app? Oh, you can.
if
Okay,
you're the Game
awesome.
Informer one, you can download it to read offline.
Okay,
Uh,
because I
and
would
yeah,
want to
it
put it on my
shows you
tablet.
like people read about like the development for certain games or what they're advertising for the game, things like that. It was really cool stuff. Uh,
So, um, you know when my birthday is, nobody else does. But anyways, I was thinking that I would probably like it really is on the spot kind of decision. Once they said that, that was my first thought process. It's like, okay, let's see what you do when I do this. So I thought about getting the membership, right, and buying Armor Core after I got the membership. I wanted to buy it new, and then afterwards we're heading into the holiday season and stuff. I was probably gonna buy next month the Super Mario or something. Does that $5 go towards some of those gift cards? Like, let's say
I
cards
was
for
I was just about to say I was reading the comments on this article and I just found a new potential exploit.
yeah,
Somebody says they drop into GameStop once every month to use their $5 off to get a $10 card, like the eShop cards and
yeah.
stuff, for $5. And just every month that's what they do. And it's like occasionally they'll see something that they want and they'll buy it, but usually they just go in every month and like get a $10 card, you take $5 off, and then now you have your money for when you want to buy something from Nintendo for technically half off.
See, that's what I was thinking. I was like, I would do that to potentially save money on Nintendo games because I still buy Nintendo games even though I have the ROG and the Steam Deck. I still buy the games, and at the same time, like I still thought about probably using that on Game Pass. You know, like if they had the Game Pass cards in there, to take off like potentially $5 per time I get a card, because I believe it's $16.99. But if you get the card in there, I never actually went in there for the cards, but I would imagine that brings it down to $12.99.
Yeah.
Or $5 off a big game if you really want the game. I wasn't hurting for money, and some people probably they have a tighter budget. To me, it's just the quality of what you're getting, and I just didn't feel like the quality was there, and I still want quality over the quantity, basically, because their quantity it ain't even looking that good of a quantity no more. But I ain't gonna hold you up though. Like, I'll still support everybody else, but I'm kind of feeling like I might buy some of these exclusives used.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like if you try to hit me, then I'm gonna hit you back. Like,
Yeah.
that's just how I'm looking at it. Like, I'm not even trying to be too crazy. Like, I understand to support the developer, but let's be honest here. This is the Call of Duty money that they're replacing. That ain't going to no developer. This is straight subscription money. What developer is that going towards? Right? I don't feel like that's going towards anybody, unless they're just really talking about like paying up front. It's like, well, why would I pay that through you to rent if I could just go buy it?
Yeah.
There are
By
these
the way,
exploits on top of the Black Friday stuff, but yeah, go ahead.
I do have another clarification, which is nice.
All right.
There is still the point system. It's just now they expire after
Expire after how much time?
a year. So after 1
Okay.
year, well, they said, or if membership like lapse, then
Lapse.
they just disappear forever.
How does this membership? So do you just go pay on it, or do you set it up somehow?
It's you set it up. You set it up with them. It's like $25 a year now.
Okay.
So I remember when I used to because it used to be 15 a year, and I would have so many points that I would use my points every year to just repay for the membership, because it was just $15, and I used the $15 off. Which, depending on what you buy, you might still be able to do that. Especially if you're going in to buy $5 off, buy this, $5 off, buy this, or occasionally use games. You'll get enough points that the points itself will pay for the subscription each year.
Yeah, because
That
I
you can
still
easily do
support, I still support some of the games and stuff here and there and everything, but I am probably going to go forward with doing anything multiplayer through PC.
Now, keep in mind too, they sell Steam, for example, cards. So you can technically get a $10 Steam card and take $5 off from GameStop.
Hey, it's starting to sound good. It's starting to sound better.
You can still do that for Steam games as well. I didn't know it worked on those. So like I was always bad at barely used the. I like showed up to buy Funkos or something, and they're usually the ones reminding me. I will also say they're not as, at least all the GameStop I've been to, they're not all like, hey, do you want to be a pro member? You can do this, and like really harping on you. They'll like, I actually have to remind them, like they're going to ring me up, and then I'll be like, oh yeah, I have a pro member, like I put my phone number, and they're like, oh yeah. Like, they stop bothering you about it.
Yeah, I've noticed they stopped bothering me too whenever I did go in there, like when I went in there to get Remnant. It was absurd when they used to start off with like, we can get your phone. I remember that. I was just like, no, I don't want you don't need my phone or an old phone, but
I remember, so that's why I misunderstood the last time I went. The cashier, she was like, do you want to use your points for Remnant? And I was like, at first I was going to say no, like I'll hold on to it. And she just went, well, they expire after a year. Keep that in mind. Oh, and I thought she meant they were expiring at the end of the year because I knew they were doing a new rewards program. I didn't realize it's just, no, it's after each year they expire. So, like, you can't be like me where I would just, like, wait 3 years and then get a whole new AAA game for, like, nothing.
Yeah.
And then, like, my points go right back up because I spent technically so much money and I didn't have to spend. So, yeah, I exploited it for too long, but I'll still be able to exploit some stuff. But
because I was
I'd rather give up my money.
Sometimes I would do big purchases there during the Black Friday sales, and I would still scoop a lot of the games, but I never took
That's where I did.
Yeah, I never took advantage of their system or whatever, because I just didn't necessarily care, because I was only going in there that one time, but I still want to support physical media, and Walmart's not doing their $10 off thing anymore. They're only doing like $5 off on select games, and so at least here, you know, if it's $5, I get to choose the $5 off. And that's the big thing that I'm thinking of. I'm going to start off with Armored Core and might jump over to the Mario game and everything. But yeah, I want my physical media. And then anything multiplayer, I am probably going to say, let's just go back to PC. By that time, though, we got plenty of time to prepare, and I'll have a better graphics card or better system by there, so we don't have to worry about my stupid laptop. But yeah, I don't want to do their systems anymore. I don't like I have to put the blame on Jim Ryan. I don't think Mark Cerny has anything to do with this. Shaw Layton's already gone. I don't know who else we could put the blame on. This is a Jim Ryan thing. And it's not even that you hear him game every now and then like Phil Spencer. It's like, the dude is just a strict businessman. I can understand, making money for the company, but you come off like you scamming us. That's how it come off. I don't see the value that much anymore. Maybe some things will change. Maybe they'll moonwalk and we'll cover that if they do. But as of right now, I think I'm just going to let that thing lapse. I got till right before 2025, so I got some time and I'll be playing stuff, but I don't want to rush it because I don't want to be in a position where I feel like I'm rushing to play the mediocre stuff instead of the good stuff. Like, it will be a different tune if everything we've been seeing so far was day and date. Hogwarts. Remember they had a Hogwarts like actual quest or something where you only the PS5 version had it, right? With Hogwarts was on PS Plus Extra, like I would have a different tune if it was followed.
It was a good mission.
Yeah, followed by Street Fighter 6, and then followed by Final Fantasy 16 and stuff, right? Leading into Spider-Man, a few other games and stuff like in between. Lies of P that's getting ready to come out. Lies of P is getting ready to be day and date on Game Pass. It's like I need them to have day and date bigger games for me to pay that bigger money. There's no way we're gonna match the price of Game Pass and then you don't come out with day and date stuff and you're handing me the mediocre stuff. So that's my whole thing. I am gonna give my Game Pass membership and do my games, physical games that way. since I'm not saving under Walmart no more. I don't really want to get it from Amazon because I don't want to wait for stuff to come in the mail. I am probably going to get Armor Core, even though Armor Core wasn't in my top 5. It looks too cool. It looks too cool. It's too much Megazord action going on. I do still got Wartech fighters, but I like it. I want to play that too.
I'm telling you, Armored Core is better. I've played Wartech fighters. It ain't great. It's fun. It ain't great.
Okay. Well, I'm going to do that. I don't know which system I'm going to get it on, Series X or PS5. I don't know yet. But the thing is, I hate that I have to double check to make sure there's no online components there. But any game that's online components, like you have to have online components going forward, I can't get it from under PlayStation no more. I can't justify it. I have to get it under PC. Even if they're full price games and I don't have the PC yet, it'll be just like an Epic Games situation where I just wait until I get the better PC or whatever I like tinker around with on the ROG Alley. But I can't do it. If there's any online components, I cannot buy it under PlayStation no more. I can't justify it. It is what it is. That's unfortunate. Very negative podcast today. I apologize. But we gotta keep it real. We talk about Epic Games and stuff. We trying to find the best deals for the people. For myself as well. And I do put a big push towards the indie side once I get back to doing a lot more solo vids. And I will. I'm still gonna put a lot more shine on the indie games, because even with the like big AAA games losing their mind with their prices and stuff, the indie games just come out and they're $20 or less, brand new, and it's a bunch of them and they're fun, and there's so many, and then you're able to play them on all the other systems without it being an issue. And they make sure they give you something quality because their lifeline is on the line. Like they can't. And they're not being forced to shut down either. Like if something just doesn't do as good, they're still coming up with something else. They're not. I don't know what's going on, but the AAA gaming space is looking real spooky right now. And the way the companies are acting, I don't know. But that's all I got for you here, man. You got any last words? Anything else? I don't know.
Hydrated.
Stay hydrated. Yeah, man. Enjoy Labor Day weekend. Because we want to enjoy the fruits of our labor. I don't need PlayStation enjoying the fruits of my labor.
Word.
That's the end of it. And I will see you guys 2 weeks from now. We're taking next week off. And have a great rest of your day. Peace.